Welcome back to another episode of Let's Connect with Dr. D. Today we have an exciting guest who is part of the music industry, an up and coming young person. So stay tuned. We will be right back to join me with my guest.
Yeah, yeah. Have respect for life, respect for life. All life matters.
You're watching Let's Connect with Dr. D. So don't forget to subscribe and stay with us as I introduce my guest this afternoon, Mr. Xavier Edwardz, up and coming young person in the music industry. Welcome, Xavier.
Hi, greetings, Miss D, and greetings to everyone tuned in. I'm glad to be here and look forward to us rapping this evening.
Yeah, well, it's so exciting to have you on the show today, and I know that you are tuning in from the beautiful area of Charlottesville. Tell me a little bit about, what is it like to be in Charlottesville?
All right, right now, absolute blessing. I'm up here with a great partner and friend, and celebrating her Earth Strong tomorrow. So that's a joy. The village still has that real communal element that we know from so many other villages, but it's really, really strong in Charlottesville still. Probably one of the most potent villages that still have that resident here. And the nature is just absolutely amazing, and the beachfront is less than a stone's throw away. So, I feel blessed to be from Tobago.
Actually, you make me want to just wrap this up and just come right up to Charlottesville and have a great afternoon. Now tell me, I mean, you're in Charlottesville, but did you grow up in that area? Where did you grow up?
I spent the earliest years of my childhood in Roxborough, Tobago. So, by definition, I am somewhat a country boy. I left when I was fairly young, but that's where my roots are.
And clearly, you've never left your roots because you seem to always be going back to enjoy the ambience and the lifestyle.
Oh yeah, for sure. Invaluable. Invaluable.
So, what were some of the fun things you did growing up?
And one of the things I remember doing a lot growing up was climbing a lot of trees. I have real distinct memories of climbing a lot of trees, particularly during the fruit season. And even off, that particular fruit season, we'll climb trees and hide and play games. And they had a swing hanging from my grandmother's almond tree, right? So my grandmother had this big almond tree in the front of the yard. And I grew up in this, extended family home. And I was the smallest. So I remember getting real twist up in the tire swing, and then spiraling out and getting dizzy and just wanting to do it again. And that's just one of the absolutely just beautiful memories of growing up in Roxborough. That still live with me every day.
Now, you said you spent part of your time in Roxborough and then you moved to somewhere else. Where did you move to?
I spent 7 years in Roxborough, about 4 years in Dallaford, and then I moved to Scholar Hall for the next 7 years of my life. And I always give credit to all three places, both Roxborough, Dallaford, and Scholar Hall, because they all helped shape me in different ways.
Was Dallaford different from Roxborough in terms of your growing up? I know you'd have been a little bit older, but in terms of some of the things that you did.
Yeah, it was definitely different because it was new. So I didn't have like the I guess you kind of know everybody that you walk around with. So I had for the first time in my life in a residential sense have to make new friends. The friends in the village you're born in, they are just your friends. You learn to make new friends in school, but that's totally different to making friends in a village. It's a whole different paradigm, and that stood out to me. But people were still really cool on that side of the island, and I made a few good friends while there for such a short time.
And then I guess Color Hall would have been a little bit of the same.
Yeah, exactly. Whole new vibes now, even more so because that is where tongue starts, quote unquote tongue. So even the languaging is different. People speak a little differently. My country accent strong them time. It's like it's potent. Right now I'm in the process of refining it because I want to bring it back. In a real sense, where I could own it and feel value in
Right.
it. And
Right.
yeah, made new friends there. And it was easy. At that stage too, now turning 11, they're really coming into some levels of self-awareness and building who is this personality that you are. And so I made some of my best friends there in Kuala.
So basically, you would have gone to primary school in the areas in the east, and then by the time you're 11 and 12, you were
I
going
went
into
to
high school.
yeah, in Scarborough.
Tell me, what was that transition like going into high school in where did you go to high school?
I went to high school in 2003. I went to Bishop High School.
Mm-hmm.
And
And what was that transition like for you moving from, like you
Belgarden
said,
Anglican is where I went to primary school.
sorry?
Belgarden Anglican is where I went to primary school, by the way.
Right.
Yeah.
So that transition for you moving into Bishop's in town.
Mm-hmm. It was
And
cool.
mhm.
It was cool.
Now tell me, in terms of when you went to school, what did you want to be in terms of growing up?
As a child, I am told that I said I wanted to be a pathologist, right? Very early, very early. I'm told that I said it really early. And I believed it for a while, right? And I used to say it growing up. But to be honest, I think I was just amused by seeing some aspect of that role on TV, and I kind of liked it. But when I started the practicality of what it requires and my little issues with blood and thing, and I was like, this is not practical. And I always kind of just wanted to be more than from a career or job space, which I really don't think I really found in a meaningful way until I was an adult, proper adult.
Mm-hmm.
I always kind of just wanted to figure out a way to be myself, and if being myself could make money and manage my life, then great. But I was always kind of minded to figure out how do I be myself and get that out.
Wow. So, okay. Um, you when you left, when you graduated from Bishop's, what did you do
When I left
after
Bishop,
graduating?
I went to Unitrust for 2 years. I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my time, my energy, how I wanted to pursue my studies, which was, that was the way to really achieve our ideals. That, at least many of our generation saw it as the most practical, meaningful way to get that done. Time has shown there are many other ways that could effect those change, probably ways that even are more beneficial in this dispensation of time.
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted to take 2 years off and find that space. I worked at Unitrust, helped me develop some financial literacy and learn how to interact with colleagues and build a family relationship in your workspace. And then I went off to study public sector management. I thought about law, I thought about literature, I thought about sociology. And as much as I liked all these fields, they didn't do enough for me. So I was like, public service in Tobago in a mess. I could study this and then I could come to Tobago and help, you know.
Well, Xavier, when we come back, you'll tell us a little bit more about that part of your journey. We'll take a short break right now.
Yeah.
Let me start with the roots where we come from, Africa. Brought to a paradise island, big old peaceful people, but the radical warrior, heart clean, pretty like a rainbow. Link up with a sister island, Trinidad, West Indian, beat the pan, I know you know the window. Come and take a lime and a wine for carnival, have a lemonade and unwind into Tobago, into Tobago.
Have respect for life. Respect for life.
So you're here again, another episode of Let's Connect with Dr. D. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and stay with us for the rest of the interview. Xavier Edwardz is with us, and he was about to tell us about his journey going into UE and what he studied in preparation for where he is today. Xavier, you're back.
Thank you. So I went off to the UE. I studied public sector management and social development policy and planning. That was my minor because, I was just trying to figure out how I can help. And even though I didn't fully receive what I would think is like a dream in a real meaningful way, I know I wanted to help. I know, the public service employed a lot of people. I knew I had a little bit of sense, so I might be able to help with something like that. And I like to figure out ways to, I guess, understand how society works and how, from a policy place, to effect positive change. So I studied social development policy as well. And while I was at UE, I'd always give credit to not just the lecturers and the tutors, but every single person who I met along that time, because graduating with the degree was the least of the learning process for me. There was the interactions, there was opening the mind to, the different cultures around the world, even just by being in that one melting pot from people from all over. It was the freedom to see who you are fully when you are, there's no one around to tell you anything. And, that's a self-discovery journey. And I enjoyed that to the fullest.
It is.
Yeah.
Perhaps that is what going to university is all about. It's not just about the academics and the curriculum, but like you say, a journey to self-discovery. And along that journey, at what point did you decide that you wanted to do something else? Because did you work in your field when you graduated?
I worked at citizen security program for 2 years after, and I enjoyed that too, But if I have to tell you at what point I decided I wanted to do something different, and by something, music, I'll have to dial it back a bit to high school. In my third year of high school, and we would have heard me say last night, it have many dimensions to me deciding to do music. Sometimes I share different parts of that story. So for this conversation, I'll take it back to high school where I wrote my very, very first song. It wasn't like a real song to record, but it was my first song for a PE competition. And I remember feeling this absolutely blissful feeling of joy and purpose and fulfillment. Not only just writing the song, but then in the moment when I performed it in front of the class, the reception, the way how I felt inside, the way how empowered I felt, and how free I felt. And for someone who had like, challenges fitting in at that stage, it was so liberating to do something that was so you, and be so accepted for it. I was like, this is what I want to do. I love this, and the people love it, and this is what I want to do. And I put that dream aside because it didn't seem practical at that point. And I went about my development and going to UE and stuff like that. And then in UE, as I was discovering myself and becoming more spiritual as well, I wanted music to inspire me, I wanted music to describe what I was experiencing. I wanted to hear songs like that. But that is not what I was hearing on the radio. I was hearing the songs that resonate, and I was seeing on the internet the songs that resonate with all the patterns of thinking and ways of behaviors that I once liked and ways of thinking that I once was okay with, that now kind of just made me I wasn't okay with anymore. So outside of Erica Badu and Common and Shadow and like people who were singing them kind of vibes, there wasn't much of it. So I was like, well, I will do it. And I just started writing and never stopped.
Wow, that's really an extraordinary story, because I mean that journey just wound corner after corner, and finally you were able to arrive. But what was that aha moment for you when you said, I no longer want to do this. I want to do that, and I'm going to do that full time. At what moment? What was that aha moment for you?
The music journey for me is closely related to my spiritual development, my self-discovery, and that's also closely related to me growing my hair. So the aha moment for me, deciding not necessarily to do music, but to do what I want with my life, was the first day I twisted my hair. I once saw an interesting quote. It said, "Lock the hair, free the mind." And so I twisted my hair, and it was the first time I saw myself looking like a version of myself that I didn't identify with. So it meant now that I had, or rather the mind had to find some way to be itself while not looking like its version of itself. It was a very freeing journey in me realizing I'm not what I look like, right?
Yeah.
And then I realized I'm not what you think of me, and I am not these ideas that anyone has told me how to live or what to do. I have an internal locus of what's right and wrong, and I have an internal guidance system that guides me to follow that. And that spark is what led to a progression of events that when music cycled back after it started as a little boy in high school, when it finally cycled back, there were no false beliefs that I still held to say, way but than a practical or thing. So as soon as it cycled back, which as I mentioned to you was when my mom ran for election, that was the first time I write again. I was like, well, yeah. And as soon as it cycled back and I started to get the desires to write and express, I did it in my own way, and never stopped.
Wow. I still continue to be amazed at, just how we develop as people, and how from every step we have this level of consciousness that we arrive at that sort of pushes us in a different direction.
Yeah.
And so We are going to um, take a little break right now. And when you come back, you will tell me of what you're actually dealing with right now.
Yeah.
Standing at a crossroads, do not know where to go. So, can you show me the way? I pray.
Have respect for life. Respect for life. All life matter.
So, welcome back, and we are with Xavier Edwardz telling his extraordinary journey from childhood into public sector management as a graduate of UE, and now into this phase of his life being a musician. So Xavier, tell me, you spoke about that spiritual journey and getting this, making a decision for yourself that, hey, I want to do this full time, getting into music. So tell me, where are you now with that? I know you've had a couple of pieces that you released, but quite recently you started turning some heads. Tell us about that.
Yeah. No, I can confidently say I am seeing manifesting outwardly what I knew inside all the time, which is that I'm one of the greatest artists who will ever walk this planet, and I will make work. I will share and create and collaborate to make artistic and musical work that will impact this generation in this time where they need it so much. One of the things that I think was real important in my journey was after I did what I wanted to do radically, I made my album, I grew my hair, I decided I'm doing music, and I found some stability because a spiritual journey is turbulent. Life is turbulent. That's how it goes. When I finally get through them clouds and stabilized, I was like, okay, there's practical steps to implement to really achieve these goals. There's collaboration necessary. There's teamwork as an essential part. And I started putting together a team of individuals who really helped in the execution of these ideas that I have in a way that they could be felt and received and people could appreciate and understand what I'm talking about. So recently I've seen the value in that collaboration in a tangible, meaningful way, to where I had one of the biggest songs in the country recently because the ideas are solid and the execution team is excellent, and we will continue to do work to impact the times we live in.
And what was the name of that song?
That was called Where We Come From. But hold up. Yeah, that was called Where We Come From. Tobago in brackets. Yeah.
Yes.
True that. One of my favorite songs, for sure. Big love to Tobago. It helped shape me in so many ways.
Mm-hmm.
And I
And
thought
they
it
could
was
listen.
important.
Where can they listen to that song or find that
Yeah.
song?
That song, the video is on YouTube. If you search my name, Xavier Edwardz, starts with an X, ends with a Z. On YouTube, you could find the music video, and it's streamable and downloadable on all streaming platforms everywhere. And if you want to directly support the artist, it could be purchased at Xavier Edwardz at bandcamp.com. There's an option to support the artist as much as you would like to keep this kind of work coming forward.
Yes, absolutely. And I hope people recognize that even though you could get some of these pieces on YouTube that really support for the artists, is important that persons go and, subscribe and, purchase some of those pieces so that you all can continue the good work that you're doing.
Thank you.
So tell me, what next do you
Well,
have?
following the release of Crossroads, which came out, which was released 2 days ago, and I was very, very happy to put that project out because it was a collaboration between myself and one of the most prolific soca producers in Trinidad and Tobago, period. And that's the late Daryl Braxton. And I was, I guess, privy enough to meet him, about 3 years ago by a mutual friend, and we started working together. And he transitioned before the song was complete. And thankfully, his nephew had the files. That's track 7 in Trinidad. He does a lot of work with Caleb as well. And over time, we ensured that we did justice to that body of work that we started and put out that piece, which I consider legacy, to have the opportunity to have work with Braxton and have that work, and for that work being, the nature of that song, crossroads, humanity is at a crossroads. For even though he transitioned and he
we
wasn't finished,
definitely are.
we so are, right? That song
Yeah.
is so relevant in this time, right now. And following that song, the team is working on a body of work. I already put out a major body of work in 2017. It's called the Live Free Project. Miss D was one of the first people to support that project. And, I'm grateful for that and everyone who has continued to support. And the time has come for a fresh body of work to come out. So we're working on that right now. And we look forward to sharing that with you all.
Wonderful. And so, do you care to give us a little taste of what one of those songs, whichever one you're comfortable with? I personally love Crossroads at this time. Yes, I love Where We Come From, but I think, Crossroads right now is so relevant to us today in every sphere of life, everything we have going on right now. We are at a crossroads. And for me, it was just, sort of uplifting.
True.
Yes.
True, yeah.
So, your choice, whichever one you'd like to share with us.
And I'll sing the chorus at Crossroads,
Okay.
Standing at a crossroads, do not know where to go. So, can you show me the way? I pray, please show me the way to go. Because we always have an option to ask for guidance when we don't know.
We do. And that those answers come in different ways. It's really amazing the kind of clues we get when we ask for the answers, and it drives us in a particular direction. And you just know in your heart that is the right direction that you're going in. As you described it, that freedom that you experience with that decision you make.
True that. In the most tiny, simple, subtle ways these answers come.
Yes. So, I know that you must rely on some things to motivate you through, the challenges, because there's never a straight road. We often get challenges along the way. And so what keeps your motivation going? What do you do? Is there anything you read?
Yeah, one of the things that keep me going is my belief in a creator and in a source, and the ability to communicate and know that I just listening to my guidance. So good is like the verse that says seek ye first the kingdom. So like once I doing that, I'm good. I also I meditate daily. I fall off occasionally when life gets turbulent, but it's never so long that I wouldn't notice and find back my stability, find back those moments of peace and silence and clarity. I have a supportive partner who, always shows up in those subtle ways to bring messages to me that I need to hear. And
And
I
that's
read.
important.
Oh, that is so important. That is absolutely important. And I read, or rather, I'll say, I try to consume and sip in the goodness of life. So, like being in Charlottesville, reading books that inspire, listen to music that inspire, because I was gifted at 17 years old with the realization that what we consume, we actually become in a real sense, in a very real sense.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I want to thank you for sharing with us your journey on Let's Connect with Dr. D. And I want to thank you as our listening and viewing audience and to urge you to subscribe and to stay with us every Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to inspire each other, transform our lives, and see the possible in the impossible. Thank you for being with us.